Hi, this is Mike from Premium Crickets. We have Robert Johnson here, who is the developer of the Robert Johnson collection of bearded dragons that we have featured on the website. There's my bearded dragon, that's Hoover. This segment I want to talk about what is a bearded dragon? Where do they come from? Why are they so popular? Just let's get a little history about the bearded dragon himself,
Okay.
or herself.
These guys, the inland bearded dragon is normally what you see out there. There's other bearded dragons that are coastal, the Rankin's dragon, but the majority of the dragons you see are the inland bearded dragons, and they come from the inland part of Australia in the arid regions on the edge of the deserts. They tend to like dry, hot climate. They do bask to digest their food. They're cold-blooded animals, so their body is the temperature of the outside, basically. They're a medium-sized, I would say a medium-sized lizard. I have some that are 24 inches long and as an adult, and small adults between 14 and 16 inches long. Being the average about 16 to 18 inches long is
So they're native to Australia.
they're
right?
native to Australia,
And
only native to Australia.
Only Australia. So about when were the bearded dragons brought from Australia to the United States?
In the early 70s, they started bringing these guys over here. They were normal dragons. There were no color mutations. They were
Brown. They're brown dragons.
tans, and some of the dark, even black. They started breeding in-house just to get an idea how to do these guys, to introduce them to the pet market, and was very successful. Very easy to breed these guys. They lay numerous amount of eggs. They lay several clutches a year. So why not use this in the pet industry? They're real docile.
Right.
A child can play with these lizards. They tend never to bite. They hang out just like Hoover here with you.
I've never been bitten yet.
This time.
It's just an overall good, laid-back pet.
Very docile, very...
If you want to introduce your kids to reptiles, this is what I recommend introducing them to reptiles with.
Okay, so back in the 70s, they were taken from Australia, introduced here. Now, if we look at Hoover, he's got a lot of color to him. How have we gone from a brown, tan dragon to one that's, what we're featuring on our websites are a lot of different colors, the citruses, the oranges, the yellows, the reds. How'd that happen?
Well, as you know, there's always abnormals in nature. Okay, there is a red dragon in Australia. There is a gold dragon in Australia. It's a rarity. So what they do is they capitalize on bringing that bloodline back over here. So they find these. It's just like the albino ball python. Right. They find these, and then they reintroduce that into the bloodline.
And then they breed that.
Yes,
okay.
And a lot of it is they'll find a trait that they like, and they'll breed into a normal, and then they'll crossbreed back into the same parent to save that trait.
Right.
That's basically how most of the old school dragons, the color started, was with abnormalities.
Now, can you breed other things into a bearded dragon besides color? Can you breed, say, a disposition?
You can breed, definitely I believe in disposition. You can have aggressive genetics, and I believe that they can be passed on through a breeding project. You can actually breed scale reduction. You can breed translucent skin. There's a lot.
You can't see it there. There you go.
There's a lot of dragons now being bred for scale reduction. They're called leatherbacks, smoothies, or silkies. Now, silkies being the most drastic change would be no scales whatsoever. This would feel like skin, basically. There's no scales. It got rid of every one of them.
Oh.
The leatherback is kind of a reduced scale. The scale feels more like a snakeback than it does a dragonback.
Mhm.
So the new stuff is scale reduction, leatherbacks, and then the translucents, and then the hypotranslucents.
Now, translucent is,
Translucent is basically a dragon with translucent skin. You can actually turn them around
You
and
can see
almost
through it?
see. You can almost see their innards
Really?
on the bottom side. They'll have solid black eyes,
yeah,
and you can set them right next to this dragon and definitely tell the difference between the two.
okay. So that's where the breeding is going.
Yes, and then the color
Right? Yeah.
of a translucent is more outlined. In other words, if you have a hypo or orange translucent,
And define for people, what does hypo mean?
hypo is not having any of the natural pigmentation in the scales or skin, and in the case of translucents, the skin of the normal dragon is basically bred out of it. They'll
So hypo means no pigmentation.
no pigmentation of the natural dragon, basically.
Okay.
There'll be a color mutation. They'll have clear fingernails.
Right here?
Yes, the whole fingernail will be clear.
Okay.
It doesn't look anything like it's a natural dragon that comes from Australia.
Okay. So the dragons that we have here in this market have been here 30 years. There's been a lot of breeding that has gone on to achieve, say, like this color right here, this orange color. And more is happening. And I think it's just like with anything, with dogs or cats or anything like that, where people try to, where the market goes is to have what is rare.
Something new.
Something new.
Yeah.
And that's what Robert spends his time on. And on the website you'll see that we actually publish who the mother and the father are and the genes that are part of it. So for those people who are looking for a particular type of bloodline, they can get that directly through our website. Right?
Yep. They can see the parentage all the way back to the grandparents. The lines are basically the old school dragons, I call them, are the oranges, the citrus, the tangerines, the snow dragons, the ones that are hypo snows, the translucents. These guys have been created just about all the colors of the rainbow. We've got dragons with purple, lavender sidebars over orange. There's a lot of things going out there dragon-wise right now. Right now, the leatherbacks, the silkbacks, the silkies, the smoothies, it's a pretty new thing going on right now. Of course, you know, new things tend to cost more because, you know, I've got a leatherback. You know, everything, all the research and all the genetics that was spent to develop that dragon, you pay for it up front, just like technology.
Right,
Basically,
right,
this
right.
guy created a leatherback dragon all the time.
It took a lot of work to get to that
Yeah, it
leatherback,
did.
right?
So
Yeah.
you'll pay a premium for the babies with those, but you'll be one of the first to have a leatherback dragon or a hypotranslucent dragon. Or now they have hypotranslucent leatherbacks. So it's just, if you followed the reptile trade, it's kind of like the ball python morphs. There's something always new coming up.
Always,
with these guys.
always, yeah. Okay, well that I mean, if I took that bearded dragon and took him back to Australia, how do you think he would do?
He would be waiting for that deli cup to be feeding him the crickets.
He'd be waiting for me. He'd be waiting for me. So
Exactly.
He's definitely domesticated at this point,
Where
right?
did he go?
All right, that's our discussion of bearded dragons in general.